Hello, parents, educators, and nerdy D&D fans. You have found our new home for Area of Effect, a talk show where we discuss how tabletop role-playing games benefit the whole family. We're currently in process of shifting all our old but golden episodes over to this new channel by posting a new episode every weekday until we catch back up to our new episodes. We would love your help getting this new channel up and running with a follow, share, or review. And thanks for joining us on our quest to bring more adventurers to the table.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Kids Table Podcast.
On a recent episode of the Kids Table, the players were making a plan to enter the tricolored city of Trivestia when Dillon, our new teenage player, and Raenelle, our adult player, had this exchange.
Are we splitting up?
Yes. At midday, everyone meet in the middle.
But isn't it massive?
We don't even know what the middle is, though. I mean, we know that building's in the middle.
We meet there. We meet the building.
I'm a nervous fairy by nature. How about we compromise first? How about we?
Rough and twos?
No, we'll go. How about we go as 4 and we scout a little bit, at least one section, and kind of see what's. Because we have none of us have been there, so we have no clue what it is. How about we pick one section to at least explore first, and then kind of see. And then we'll figure out if we can split up. Because we don't know if this is a safe or dangerous place.
Or one's safe and one's dangerous.
I suggest we not go through the red.
I say we do.
So you're just drawn to the red.
Mm-hmm.
I can make that. I think we can make that compromise. But we will all stay together.
How was it that Raenelle was able to bring Dillon on side with the rest of the group while honoring his autonomy and fidelity to his character's background? That's what we're going to break down on this episode of Area of Effect.
Welcome to Area of Effect, a podcast by the Kids Table, where we discuss how tabletop RPGs benefit kids and answer your questions about playing TTRPGs with the kids at your own table. All right, welcome back to Area of Effect. We took a little hiatus while we spent some time transitioning into the beginning of season 2 of our original actual play campaign with kids at the table. And now that that's underway, we're finally able to return to talking about the many ways that TTRPGs benefit kids and giving grown-ups advice on how to adapt the game and enhance the game for the kids at your own table. So.
And this is really exciting for me, friends, because Allison is back in California.
We're in the same room recording this
for
the
this
first
weekend
time ever.
only. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm so glad that you're back.
Yeah. So
That's really nice.
I live on the East Coast and Ryan lives on the West Coast, so usually we have to do this over Zoom.
Yep, and we get to do it in person today, which is super fun, and also lots of other secret kids table-y things that will come out at some point. Maybe. So
be on the lookout for that.
Watch this space. Allison, I'm so excited that you're here. Because that clip that we played at the beginning is from the newer season of the Kids Table, season 2, one of the episodes that has recently come out. We have a new player at the table, Dillon, who is awesome. I love Dillon. Dillon is a teenage boy who famously are just like super chill about everything, right? Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm the kid guy and you're the teenage person.
Sure.
Teenage guy.
Teenage guy, I don't know, yeah, whatever.
So
youth person.
there you go, youth person. Tell us a little bit about the difference between kids and youth.
Wow. Okay. Well, in this particular context, I think that Dillon is coming at D&D from a little older approach, a little more, I don't know if I want to say mature, but like more experienced approach. Like, would you show like a 2-year-old like Harry Potter or Star Wars? Probably not, because then they'd have nightmares for like 2 weeks. But a teenager would love that, right? So teenagers are more in a place where they're equipped to handle some more complex subjects, some more dark things. They don't really just want to play like unicorns and flowers and everybody's happy and nobody definitely dies and nobody gets sick. The teenagers want to explore that space. They're starting to explore all the range of emotions that are available to them in the world and kind of start practicing this more, they're practicing pieces of adulthood by kind of dabbling with grief, dabbling with disappointment, dabbling with like broken friendships, broken relationships. Like the teenagers like to explore all those subjects. And the kids mostly just want to have fun, and they want the heroes to always win, and they want the bad guys to be the bad guys and the good guys to be the good guys, and everything to be clear and happy at the end. Is that an oversimplification? I
don't think so. I think that that's a really good explanation of it, because one of the benefits of TTRPGs and something like D&D is giving teens that space where they can enact some of these things, right? Their brains have developed in such a way that they are now aware of these abstract issues. They're aware of these harder things that we as adults are, constantly aware of. And it's hard for them to, articulate what they think about that and figure out what to do with those situations if they haven't directly experienced them. And D&D is a way for them to practice, right? And so yeah, I think that one of the things that Dillon is doing in that clip is he's put on this persona, because Dillon is a sweet boy. Mm-hmm. Dillon is a sweet boy who would never hurt a fly. And he is playing this character that's got this little bit of a darker side. Rugged. he's dangerous, because he's just experimenting with it. Yeah. And that's normal, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like that's one of the tasks of teenagehood, is to explore those sorts of feelings. And it can sort of bring some conflict to the table too, that is a little bit more difficult for younger kids. So what was it that we saw in that clip that Raenelle was doing that was so helpful, do you think?
She was really doing like conflict negotiation or peacemaking, like you would see happen in like an adult like world where like two companies were trying to come to an agreement, or like two political parties. Yep. That's what she was doing, right? Really was. She was like, okay, so you're saying that from your perspective it feels like this is what's happening, and then you're saying from your perspective this is actually your value and your priority, so how can we come to a common consensus on what we can agree on, because we want to work together, because clearly we need each other. You have certain strengths that you bring to the table, like your spells. You have certain strengths you bring to the table as an assassin, and like we need each other to reach this common goal, and kind of like reminding them that that's what we need to focus on in this situation. And if we have different perspectives or histories or priorities behind the scenes, we need to push that to behind the scenes so that we can work together.
Yeah, let's break it down a little bit more, because Raenelle is a pro. Yeah. Right? Raenelle's used to work with children and teens, and does some of this stuff for a living. So let's break down a little bit of the specifics of what she's doing. One of the things that we talk about a lot is the yes or concept, mm-hmm. right? You encounter yes and in improv circles. So a lot of D&D players, a lot of the professional D&D players will talk about yes and, which means that when somebody in the group raises something, you take that and you run with it. You take it to the next level. You never say no. You always say yes, and this is how I add to it. That can get a little bit difficult with both teens and kids. because some of the things that they bring up you can't say yes to for lots of different reasons, either because they're going to cause conflict at the table, or because the story that you've prepared doesn't contain any of those elements,
or it's damaging to your character or your allies.
Bingo. And we're creating the safe space where they can enact some of these harder things, but we also want it to still be a safe space. So yes or gives you the language and the tools to acknowledge what they've said, which is one of the things that Raenelle does in that clip. She hears what Dillon is saying. She understands the background of where he's coming from. And then she casts an alternate option. She says, yes, or this could happen instead. And that gives the player more options. Because oftentimes when teens are working through these more complex emotions, this is the first time they're having to deal with this issue. They've heard about it, they've read about it, but in terms of enacting it, this may not, they don't have the language or the tools to really deal with it. So instead of stopping it, instead of shutting it down, Raenelle is giving him more vocabulary, more tools to deal with this backstory that he's created and figure out how it integrates into the rest of the group.
And that's always a problem, even with adult players. I don't know if it's a problem. It's an opportunity because, every adult comes to it, especially if they've spent a lot of time in character creation with like this whole vision of what this backstory is and your character's motivations and their goals for where they're going to be going in the future. And it doesn't necessarily align at all with the other players around the table. So adults have to figure out how to take turns and make sure each player has their moment to shine and their moment for character growth and to progress toward their own goals without sabotaging the team.
Yeah, it can feel really hard because in character creation, you are putting a piece of yourself in the character. When you're creating that character's backstory, it's coming from a part of you. Even if nothing in that character resembles you, it's still coming from a place inside of you. And so it can feel really difficult for a player when the DM or another character says, no, I am invalidating this thing that you have created or this thing that you are saying. So instead, you finding a way to expand the world, but also expanding their world with more options, gives them ways to express that character in ways that actually will build up the rest of the table.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of the difference we're seeing here is kind of what we talked about in an earlier episode, how kids the age of Beckett and Chloe in season 1, when they're creating a character, it's really just them. They're just playing themselves. And there's a different skin on it. You're a dragonborn, right? But you're yourself. Whereas Dillon is at the age where he's telling a story. He's embodying a role in the story like you would when you're reading a book or when you're watching a movie and you're like rooting for the hero. You're not the hero, but it's fun to imagine yourself in that person's shoes. So he's like playing this whole other character that he knows is not Dillon. But then I wonder from Chloe and Beckett's perspective now, at their age now, you can maybe speak to that. Does it feel to them like Aragon is Dillon?
Yes. Well, so it does depend on the kids. So Chloe and Beck are now both 9. They're starting to teeter on the edge of concrete operations and formal operations in Piaget's theory, which basically means that they are beginning to grapple with some of these abstract concepts. So, like, they know, of course, Aragon's not Dillon, but because Dillon is enacting Aragon at the table, I would say that the things that Dillon says and the moves that Dillon makes are still Dillon in certain ways. And so that's another one of the genius things that Raenelle does in that clip, is that she pulls the other characters in.
Yes.
Right? She creates that safe space for Dillon. She gives him another option with the yes or, and then she brings the rest of the table alongside. She pulls Chloe in as Serena and tries to get Serena to communicate directly with Aragon, right? Figure out how what he is saying can fit with some part of who Serena is. And it makes it both more enjoyable for Dillon because then Dillon is, grafted into the group, but it also makes it more sensible for the other players at the table because then they can see where the puzzle piece that Dillon is extending fits with the puzzle pieces that they are holding in their character and their backstory.
Yeah. And I love when she pulls them in because she models how to come to compromise and negotiate first, and then she invites them to step into it. And she actually had done something similar in episode 3, and then now in episode 4 she's challenging them to step up even more than they did in that kind of negotiation exchange when they were kind of deciding if they were going to be allies and journeying together in episode 3. Now she's taking it one level deeper than that,
which is why it is so important to have adults at the table too.
Yeah.
It would be so easy for an adult to sit behind the DM screen and have a bunch of kids at the table and have a great time. You guys would have a great time. But having an adult player gives me as the DM one more tool, right? One more voice in the room that is on the same page as I am, developmentally and what we're hoping for with this group. But to enact it as a player, as somebody equal to everybody, the rest of the players at the table, rather than the person in charge. It's a little bit harder for the DM to do some of these things just because the DM has more authority. And so when a DM says something, especially for a kid or for a teen, it has more weight. And while that is helpful in resolving certain types of conflicts, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to the group cohesion that you're looking for. An adult player can do that. That's one of the brilliant things about Raenelle at the table, is that she is able to help herd these cats together, right? She's able to get the players to talk to each other and then step back a little bit and have them carry it forward.
What she's doing is not just teaching them how to play with other players at the table, but how does this translate to the real world?
Yeah, for sure.
As kids get older, their friendships get more complicated. In the beginning, when you're in young elementary school, your friends are both or mostly context-based or interest-based. Do you like playing soccer at recess? So do I. Okay, you're my best friend. And that's it. It's pretty simple. But as they get older, it gets much more complex where they're learning nuance, they're learning sarcasm, they're learning how people can say one thing but mean another thing, and that there's some subcontext going on, that communication is more than just the words that they're hearing. I mean, it gets much more complex as they get older. So, any parent who's had kid go through friendship struggles knows just how hard that is as a parent to watch that and to watch your kid feel like their friend isn't stepping up to be the friend they should be and they're not acting as a friend should. So they're having this opportunity at the table to learn friendship skills with the guidance of a trusted adult that's at the table there to model and invite them to take part in it. And then the next time they end up having some kind of a conflict with their real friends in the real world, they're like, oh, I've been through this before. Oh, I understand what compromise looks like and how I can put aside my personal priorities and focus on what we align on as we're accomplishing this task or goal together.
And that's where the first of the 3 big rules that we have at the kids table is really helpful too. Our first big rule when we sit down at the table, we say, we treat everybody at the table and in the game with kindness, mercy, and justice. And the kindness piece is especially helpful here. The way that we define kindness is treating the other person like they are a full person, deserving of the same rights and responsibilities that you have. It is so easy when you are at a table and there's conflict to stop seeing the other person as a person, that you are the one who is right, they are the one that is wrong, and it is just incumbent upon you to argue your way to victory. And instead, what you see with Raenelle in that clip is she's invoking that kindness principle. She's saying, I see you as a full person, Dillon, and I see where you are coming from, and I will reflect that back to you. I will acknowledge your full personhood and all of the same rights that I have, you have. Let me give that to you. Also, you have the same responsibilities that I have at the table too. And so let's reflect that together and then figure out how that reflects on the other players at the table. And that's a thing that the kids can take out into the real world too, especially when they're having these friendship difficulties. It is so easy when kids come into conflict for them to forget that the other person is a person. And to forget that they are a person too. When you have somebody who is cutting off a friendship with you, when you have somebody who is leaving you, you can feel real bad about that. That can be a real big blow to their self-esteem. So to remember that you also are a person and you yourself are deserving of kindness is a really, really big thing for young kids to learn and for teenagers to remember.
Yeah, and I think D&D provides a unique opportunity. You know, we've talked before about how there's a lot of preschool programming that teaches preschoolers the things that they need to learn, like listening to their parents, putting on their shoes, brushing their teeth, like the preschool age learning. Now, I wish there was like a Daniel Tiger for middle schoolers who are going through conflict negotiation issues and like friendship breakups and all that kind of stuff, and there's not. So great. D&D is our opportunity to experience that.
I am having the best time right now imagining Daniel Tiger for middle schoolers. Like,
you can be a friend and find a way to compromise at the end of the day.
Oh, that was brilliant. There you go. I'll animate that. But you're right. I mean, you're right. There is no programming out there like that, because what teenager is going to sit down and watch Daniel Tiger for teens?
You're going to completely lose your voice with them if you do something.
Because they hate moralizing. They hate moralizing, right? Like, it's so, like, they are so used to adults telling them what to do. By the time you're 13, you have had 13 years of adults telling you what to do, and you are tired of it, and you're sick of it. And so rather than sitting at the table and saying, no, you can't do that, you have to do it this way, or think about somebody else for a change, like these modeling principles that Raenelle is doing in this clip, where she is reflecting back, where she is giving him yes or, where she's integrating him into the group and the rest of the group into his story, are so much more effective. And they give him tools to carry out into the world too, when he is encountering friends like this, that now he knows how to do this, right? Raenelle has modeled this for him, and now he maybe can be the type of person who brings a person into the group too, even if he's not at the table.
Yeah, and in D&D, you're like couching it in this game, in this adventure that you're experiencing together. Whereas if like we were like, okay, Dillon, you're going to sit down now, and Raenelle's going to teach you how to negotiate. You know, he's not going to listen to that or embody that as much as he would by experiencing it in D&D.
It's just so good. I love playing with these kids. It's so much fun. Allison, it's been so fun having you here in person doing this AOE. I'm really excited for this new season of Area of Effect to start, so that we can talk about more of these issues and hear more from you who are listening, what problems you have, and how we can be helping you bring kids to the table. But I'm so glad you were able to fly out and be with us for the weekend.
I'm able to be here. It's been a super fun time, and I wish it could happen more often.
Yeah, it will. We're going to figure it out.
Great.
Friends, if you have questions about TTRPGs and kids and teens and what you can be doing to bring more kids to your table, email us, thekidstablednd at gmail.com. You can visit our new website, thekidsdnd.com.
Thekidstablednd.com.
Did I say the kids D&D? Yep. Thekidstablednd.com.
And be on the lookout for our DM tip videos that are going to be summarizing or expanding on some of these topics that we talk about on Area of Effect.
Yep, you can find us on Instagram and on YouTube and on TikTok, all at the Kids Table D&D. Reach out to us because when kids are at the table,
everyone wins.
Thanks, friends. Thanks for listening to Area of Effect. Be a part of the ongoing conversation. Follow us on Instagram at the Kids Table D&D, where you can DM us questions that might appear on a future show. And check out the Kids Table D&D on YouTube to see how we include kids and teens at the table. Brought to you by the Kids Table, because when kids are at the table, everyone wins.